I've seen so many players die in doors floor 2. Maybe you're one of them. So in today's video, I'm gonna show you exactly how to always win in doors floor 2. If you find this video helpful, all I ask is that you share with a friend who might be struggling to complete doors floor 2, and also share some of your top favorite tips on how to complete doors floor 2 down below in the comments. All right, so starting out in the mines where floor 2 is I really want to focus on the point leading up into the seek chase. So I'm going to share with you some of the entities to look out for and some of the key things I use to always win in doors floor 2. Now this will work whether it's solo or you're playing with your friends, but follow these tips and I promise you, you will win a game or at least get closer and better to winning a game. So one of the first things I want you to focus on is really looting. Your first quarter, shall I say, before actually getting up to the seek chase and in total of the 200 doors is really looting, and you'll be using this technique throughout the whole entire, I'd say, floor 2. And it's really just opening up every single locker that you can and also looting all the toolboxes. The toolboxes have some of the best things in it. Maybe they have, you know, glow sticks, batteries, they're guaranteed something good in there, especially band-aids. Now, if you are to get anything before you start the mines, I would suggest getting the big flashlight or band-aids. Now, I say that because you're going to be able to use that to heal yourself and your teammates. Now, things to look out for. Of course, we have rush. Now, I do like that they've added that the lights flicker, and you'll also see it. You sort of have this like camera shake where the place is starting to rumble. So just pay attention to that, and once you see that, make sure you hide in a locker. Now, of course, it's the double lockers, the white ones. Now, keep in mind that you cannot hide in the same locker. Like if you jump out of it, you can't go right back in it. So make sure you're in an area just in case ambush comes, which I'll show you later, where you can actually hide between different lockers. So what are some of the main worries? Definitely rush, and you also have Screech, who is always showing up. So make sure you pay attention to Screech. Screech shows up now more in doors floor 2, so it's constantly going on all throughout floor 2. So always keep in mind that Screech is going to be popping up no matter what you are doing. Now, there's also another entity called Giggles that you need to look out for, who is affected by lights. So if you shine lights on Giggles, Giggles will not jump down on your face. And this is that monster that's kind of stuck up to the ceilings, and you have to always just listen for a little laugh. And if you walk under it, it will stay on your face for a while, not for a long time. There's nothing you can do about this. However, a teammate can take it off of your face a little bit earlier. Now, we also have rooms with the moths, so watch out for the eggs on the ground if you step on those. And now, one thing to do is just don't use a light source if you're in this area with these like moths creatures, but make sure that you use a glow stick if you do want to see where you're going. The glow stick is fine, it lights up, they don't go towards it, but if you were to use, let's say, a flashlight, they would get drawn to the light and attack you. Now, we also have the fire rooms, and in these fire rooms, just make sure you don't use a lighter. If you do, you'll die. So those are really the key things to look out for. Again, make sure you're looting and getting a lot of items. Of course, listen out for rush when the lights flicker and the place starts to rumble, so make sure you hide in a locker. In time, we also have Giggles, who is on the ceiling laughing. You can shine a light on Giggles to stop him from falling down, so do make sure to listen for Giggles. Of course, pay attention to Screech as well, and again, make sure you loot up as much as possible. And the last thing that you'll need to really pay attention to is just the door numbers that you're going to next. I tend to verbally call it out, the number I'm going to next. Why? Because there's a lot of dupe doors, and the dupe doors are, if you go through door, let's say 130, there could be multiple doors saying 132, 131, 134. So always remember the door you have just gone through and the door you're going through next. But you can go up to the door that you think, and if you hear like a growl or it sounds like a monster's behind it, that's how you know it's a dupe door. So don't go through it. Now, before we get to the seek chase, you should have a figure scene here. So when you go up to the door, for me, it turns out to be around that 120-ish mark. It could be possibly different for you. But however, you do have this sort of like barrier there that figure can't actually go through, but make sure you crouch, and all you have to do is pretty much follow figure, but keep a good distance. You don't know if figure is going to turn around, but remember, figure is blind, so if you do not crouch and if you run, it will alert figure, and figure will run exactly to the spot where the sound was made. So if you do make a sound, make sure that you leave that spot. Don't stand there if figure starts to run, because figure is coming straight for that spot, and you should be able to survive figure. All you have to do is just make it through the next door. Okay, so we've made it to door 140, which this is going to be the seek chase. Now, this is something that is consistent every single time. You won't get a seek chase before or after this. Well, you'll get another one later, which I'll talk about. But however, this seek chase is the first one, and it's quite different from floor 1. Now, this one may take some time to get down, but what you really have to do is just focus on your jumps. Now, when I first did this, I died on my first jump. That video is on the channel. But however, when you're jumping across, make sure that you wait until you get to the edge. Think of those obbies where you have to jump like almost the last second in a way. If you jump too early, you fall down. Now, throughout the seek chase, you're going to be following guiding light. So just follow that blue like particle trail. It will lead you to the left, to the right. But don't worry, again, guiding light is also guiding you, but make sure you pay attention to where you're going and make sure you time those jumps. Now, once you make it through door 145, you'll get a cutscene where you jump automatically. I would still jump, but where you have this cutscene and you fall, and you get down to probably one of the most challenging parts in the seek chase, and that is the cart ride. So make sure that you crouch whenever you see the signpost that look like there's nothing, again, below it. But you're really gonna have to work on your timing with this because it's so fast. Now, what I tend to do is I tend to always try and keep my camera straight and be aware. There are arrows that show you where to go, but I will be honest, this happens so fast, you only have maybe a split second to decide the direction. So really look at the particles of guiding light that is guiding you, but really pay attention and focus on the direction of where the cart or where that trail is going, because sometimes it looks like it's going to the left, sometimes it looks like it's going to the right, but really focus on the particles and follow that. But again, focus on your timing. So after you complete the mine cart area, you do see grumbles, and now we're entering probably one of the most challenging parts in doors floor 2, where I've seen so many people die or get stuck at, including myself. I was stuck here for a very, very long time. You just have to go right, and then there's a pretty funny scene here with grumbles, and all you have to do is just run through, and now we're getting to the challenging part, which I'm going to share some tips with you that have helped me complete this multiple times. We're here at Grumbles, and you're inside of, let's say, the mines, like deep down underground, and it's your job now to activate these anchors. Now, if you are playing by yourself, you will have anchors A, B, C, and D. If you're playing with more than, I think, one person or two people, you'll have an extra anchor, so you'll have like A, B, C, D, and E, so you'll have to find, 5 of them instead of 4 of them. So keep that in mind. If you are playing by yourself, you will have less to do. But I want you to pay attention to every time that you use it. And in the bottom left, you can see the number that you need to put in. Pay attention to the radar that's on top of the anchor machine where the button is, because that's going to show you the direction where the actual machine is. You'll see it turn. So if it turns from, like, if it looks up, that's how you know it's going up. So it's on an upper level. And if it stays on the same level, that's how you know it's on the same level. But again, looting is also going to be quite important here. If you haven't already, keep looting, so then you can use some of these items to light up the path when you're getting away from grumbles. But if you have a big flashlight, that's going to be really handy, because if you use it, it can also stun grumbles. Now, there is a map of the mines. I'll try and link that down below in the description, but the more you do this and the more you actually possibly die here, the more you're going to get better. So just take every failure that you may have here as a plus, because you're getting closer to getting better. So when you actually get to the machines, they will have notes on them which says, +2 or minus something, and all you're doing is adding that to your number. So if your anchor code was, 1, 2, 3, and there was a +2 on it, you would technically just add 2 to the 1, add 2 to the 2, and add 2 to the 3. So you would have 3, 4, and 5. Now, C and D tend to be quite challenging, but if you are on, again, pay attention to where the radar is, because there are ways to go up and down in the mine. So you really have to just get a feel for this. Now, C sometimes spawns over here, which is quite tricky. Again, it's just something you're gonna have to really feel out, and it's under this tunnel, which may seem quite difficult to find, especially if you think you're getting to the end, but I just showed you that there, so do know that this option is there, and I've also seen other ones spawn in here too at times. Now, one of the toughest things I find in this part is that there's sometimes multiple grumbles, one that knocks you down and one that actually kills you. So you have this patrol one, and then you have this the big one that actually comes after you and can get you in one bite. And if you do get knocked down by it, just sort of stay still or just try and run away, so then you get up and can get away. But I feel like if you panic in this situation, you'll get bitten again. It's quite a tough thing to explain. You'll know if you've ever got bitten by grumbles. But do your best to stay away from grumbles, watch out for dead ends, and use that flashlight to sort of stun grumbles if you can. But after you complete that, you'll have a little chase scene, and then you're making it to the shop. Now, in the shop, I would suggest, again, either buying the big flashlight or the band-aids. I would suggest buying the band-aids because you'll be able to heal up if you take damage in the end and along the way. However, after this point, there really won't be any respawn, so I feel like if you do die, and if you can revive, the best time to die is probably at the grumbles area around that 150. Now, the only thing you have to really worry about leading up until the next seek chase before we also get to the final boss is really giggles, and also rush, maybe ambush, and also really looking out for dupe doors. There's a lot of dupe doors. And there's also another figure part which you'll have to get past, which this one you have to find 2 light bulbs and put it in the generator. Now, again, if you do make a sound with figure, then make sure that you just leave that area. Don't stand there and don't run. Just crouch away, keep calm. So if you open something, you hear that figure is coming, just crouch and move to another direction from where you made that noise. So all you have to do in this area is just be very sneaky, stay on the outskirts, and make sure that you place these light bulbs, press the button, and you're able to make it through. But again, always look out for Screech as well. Okay, if you're able to do all of that, you now have made it to door 195, which is the next seek chase. So we'll have to make it through 5 more doors or 4 more doors to make it to 200. Now, this one is quite challenging, but one thing that has really helped me get through this is, of course, always paying attention to guiding light and making sure you time your jumps and knowing that you do have a little bit more time than you think you have. Now, what do I mean by that? When you're making it through the tunnels, it could be that you lose the light or you run into a dead end in the tunnel. It's because you have to look and see where guiding light has gone, and sometimes you may not see it. And even with the jumps across the pipes, really make sure you pay attention to that, because it can look like it's just going on and you may miss a jump. So practice your jumps there. And if you do feel like you're getting lost in the tunnels, you do have a moment to look left, look right, and see exactly where you are going. So again, there'll be times that guiding light just disappears and you don't know where to go. So make sure, again, you just pay attention to that and know you do have a little bit more time than what you think. Now, you've made it to door 200. Congratulations. But remember, there are no revives here, and you have to cut off the valves, which are actually glowing up. So the first stage, you have to do 3 stages of these. The first stage, you only have to do about 2. And then after you do that, there'll be a minor cutscene, and then you have to start cutting off the rest of the valves. Now, the biggest takeaway from this is just make sure you're timing your jumps and not panicking too much, because you can fall into this sort of goop stuff. But however, there is a way to get out. You just have to jump, and really looking for these sea cans as well, because they will hit wherever it's glowing up red. So you just have to really keep moving and just be aware of it. It takes time, but again, try not to panic too much, but make sure that you are timing your jumps right. So the biggest takeaway is, again, keep moving, time your jumps, because if you don't keep moving, if you wait too long, it could be that you get hit by one of these seek monsters and you will be taken out instantly. But after you've cut off all the valves, which are lighting up by the guiding light, they'll be glowing more blue than normal. You've defeated the Seek boss, and you're able to make it out to the end and make it to the ending to get to the giant door before the Grumbles cutscene. And there it is. You have completed Doors Floor 2. So comment down below some of your favorite tips in Doors Floor 2 to complete it if you have yourself. And don't forget to leave a like and subscribe. It really shows your support for the channel. Let's make sure you found this video helpful. And until the next, I will see you in the next one.